Welcome back to the GTN show.
Yeah, welcome. The big news this week, the Professional Triathletes Organisation have partnered with World Triathlon. This could potentially completely shake up, and I mean in a great way shake up, the pro triathlon racing calendar.
Oh yeah, it could. We also had Paula Findlay duke it out with the professional cyclists at the recent UCI World Championships in Scotland.
Yeah, whilst Lewis Pugh sets out to swim 315 miles down the length of the Hudson River. Okay, kicking off with Reacts, things that we have spotted on social media this past week. I'm going to kick off with this one. It's Adrian Costera that a couple of people have actually messaged us about, and I have to be honest, I sort of saw it but didn't really look into it, and people have really brought it to my attention, particularly off the back of Sean Conway's Iron 102/105, saying, hey, you really need to check this guy out. I have, and well, hats off. So basically, Adrian Costera is attempting to do the longest triathlon by a male in history, trying to get and break the Guinness World Record. For that, he's planning to cover a distance of 40,170 kilometers. And to do that, he does all the swimming in one load, and then all the biking, and then all the running. So he's swimming a total of 1,205 kilometers swim, 31,132 kilometers of cycling, and then 7,833 kilometers of running. I mean, not to you can't really compare the two, Sean and Adrian, but that is almost double the distance of Sean's, but it's not quite comparable, is it? It's a very different format, but very, very impressive. He's on day 74, 75 at the moment. Yeah. Well, as we're filming this anyway. I
mean, it's a bizarre concept, isn't it, of basically doing your challenge that's going to take a whole year. Like, right now, if you can picture next year, you never have a day off of stopping from that challenge of doing, you've got to do every day. It's a bizarre thing, like the whole, I mean, I struggled to get my head around it with Sean. I kind of feel like this is obviously harder being longer, but not having to swim every day for a year or for 100 days.
I do think, probably, I mean, it's easy for us to say here, just sat on our stools here. Probably logistically, it might be easier, because I know Sean's, he had to be in the swimming pool every day, jumping out onto a bike, you know, all the kit that's involved with that. But what I do know from Sean's is just trying to do it for 105 days, it was more just having the team and everyone on side day in, day out. So to have, you know, being able to do that for a year himself, set aside all that time, and the people around that to support him, I mean, yeah, fair play. So
it's a team effort, isn't it?
Head on over. I believe he is raising money for charity, so yeah, do go check him out.
Cool. Moving back to more direct triathlon news, as a post from Alistair Brownlee, which sadly isn't a positive one. We know Alistair struggles with injuries, and he's currently got another one. But on the positive side, he's getting it sorted. So he's just put this picture of a removal of a bone spur that was on his ankle. So he says, I've been struggling with ankle pain for the last few months, which is quite a long time, isn't it? A few weeks ago, I had surgery to remove the bone spur, which had been causing lots of the issues and stopping him from running properly. Big shame to miss up on upcoming races, but also big relief that we've successfully removed something that's caused me so many issues.
I mean, I can see why. I mean, look at the size of that thing.
That is crazy. And I mean, we kept, like, there's so many races, haven't there been, where we're like, is Alistair going to make it to the start line? Is he? And obviously missing knees. I kind of wish that his team could have sorted that out months ago. But
I mean,
hey-ho.
I mean, that's a serious bone spur as well. He's saved a bit of weight. His power to weight will go up a bit now, I reckon.
Just what he was thinking. Anyway. Talking of power to weight.
Yeah, this last week we've had the UCI Cycling World Championships all taking place in Glasgow. All the events, all the disciplines in one place, which is quite unique, and it's been really quite exciting to watch. And we had a triathlete taking part in the women's time trial. That was Paula Findlay. So she head over, having done the PTO US Open, flew straight over to do the TT for obviously representing her country, Canada. And wow, her post, she says she was initially disappointed. I believe she was 24th overall. I can't actually see the result
25th
there.
Here
25th, sorry, 25th. But I mean, she was still in the mix with the world's best. And as we say, she's just flown over from the US, having done a triathlon the week before. And as you quite rightly pointed out, having to adapt to a UCI position.
I mean, her main aim, I guess, is triathlon with the PTO tour, and you know, she's doing so well in that. She's not going to spend that much time on that, and it's sort of like a, Yeah, I mean, as a couple as well, obviously her partner Eric Lagerstrom, he put a post saying it's been a rocky week, but now all there is to do is go hard. And I think he's got a bit invested because having watched European cycling on TV since I was a kid, so he was super excited. Just, I guess it is a bit of just a dream opportunity as well, which is super cool.
Yeah, very well done to her for getting stuck in. I'm amazing.
Yeah, this next post, if you're a bit squeamish to look away, it is from Jo Patterson, who you might have recognised. We've had her in a few of our GTN videos. She did the cycle leg in the Salou 70.3 relay that I did last year. And she's a friend of mine, also a friend of the channel. And she's just turned pro this year as a triathlete, and it's not really been going too well. And she was just getting ready to race in Sweden and Kalmar this weekend coming. She was actually out, she lives in Glasgow, so she was out on the roads just training, doing a little test set before Worlds, and she had a pretty nasty crash. And she's put this picture up here and basically thanking the French athletes who apparently who were out on a training ride ahead of the Worlds, who came to rescue her. And yeah, she's a bit mashed up, but sending Jo sort of well wishes and the hope that you recover soon. And next year's going to be a fresh year because it's not pretty. But
speedy recovery, Jo.
Yeah.
All right, moving on, and we've got the lads together out in Andorra. So Christian and Gustav have been in Font-Romeu training, and they popped over to Andorra to meet up with none other than Cam Worth. So they've got a little run session in together, pretty cool to see that.
I would like to have been a fly on the wall in their session. I mean, even Cam to that post has put "welcome is always on the doormat." I mean, he's just constantly a joker, Cam, isn't he? I bet there would have been some good bants going on that run. But it's also just so nice to see all the different rivals going to train together, and that's what's so cool about our sport, I think. Yeah,
definitely. But following on from that, actually, Gustav will not be racing in the Paris test event this weekend. We covered that a couple of weeks back. Obviously, that's a bit of a downer for Gustav. He's based his whole year around trying to qualify for the Paris Olympics next year, and as a result is therefore not doing the Ironman World Championships, which arguably you could suggest it's got his name written all over it, but he's made that cool. It's his dream to go to the Olympics again and perform there, and fortunately he's been snubbed by another Norwegian to go and left out. And
difficult, isn't it? I mean, he's been quite quiet, but he has put this post up, and obviously they've been training out in Font-Romeu, and his fitness is getting better, but he has put a little sort of remark here. My schedule was changed after I was deemed, in exclamation marks, not good enough, quotation marks, sorry, to race the Paris test event after spending the first part of the season getting enough points to be on the list. So yeah, I mean, it still feels like it's very bitter for him, and he's still going to go out there and do the actual bike familiarisation. So, which means he's still 100% focused on it, which is cool. And fingers crossed, even though he misses this race, he can still get on that start list for next summer.
We'll get on to all of that a little bit later on. But as you remember, Christian is doing the test event, then flying out, and clearly with Gustav to the PTO Asian Open and racing that in technically the following day. So, very impressive.
Madness. Yeah. Our final piece this week from What We Spotted Online is actually a post from a friend of ours and a friend of the channel who has just won the British National Time Trial Championships. Now, for those of outside of the UK, might not kind of get how big time trialling is in our country. It's a really big thing, and people take it very seriously. And she has won the 12-hour championship, cycled 263 miles in one go. It's just, totally insane. And it ended up being just between 4 miles between first and third at the end of 12 hours of racing. So massive hats off to Kim for that. She said that she properly pushed it into the absolute hole at the end. And there's lots of pictures if you want to go look at her Instagram of just how much she hurt for that. She's part of the Matt Bottrell racing team, and just really, really proud of her. So well done, Kim.
One with the tri news, and the big bit of news, breaking news in fact, is that the World Triathlon and PTO, Professional Triathletes Organisation, have partnered, and they essentially are recognising the PTO Tour as a World Championship tour for long distance triathlon. So think of the current short course WTCS series, but as a long course version, which is pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing. So they're going to have a final World Championships like we see in the WTCS, but they're also going to have those qualifier races, or those races that you build points up along the way. And they're saying potentially up to 5 of those regional events. So they're planning to hopefully get to having 1 in each continent, which is a pretty massive deal. Alongside this, for the professionals, they're also going to be running an age group championship series. We're not exactly sure how that's going to look at the moment, but they're saying that it's going to run this very similar to the way it does with World World Triathlon at the moment. So you would qualify for that World Championships through your federation. So you'd get to represent your country, but you'd have to sort of work and apply through your federation like you do to do the other distances at the moment. So that's kind of pretty much what we know at the moment.
Yeah, there's a lot still to be cleared up and confirmed, but I mean, in short, it's very exciting. Obviously, it's going to be over the current 100k format, 2k swim, 80km bike, 18k run. And also, obviously, by partnering with World Triathlon, there are a lot of services that the PTO will benefit from, such as anti-doping, jury appeals, safeguarding, and so on. So it's all very exciting. Now, we are hoping actually to catch up with Sam Renouf, the PTO CEO, next week. I think he's quite busy prepping for the Asian Open this week. But what he has had to say is, given the importance of the Olympics and short course racing on the traditional federation funding model, long distance triathlon has largely been left to private sector or for-profit promoters, leading to a fragmented and uncoordinated calendar for both athletes and fans. In partnering together to recognise the PTO Tour as the official World Championship Tour of long distance triathlon, they're hoping to sort of bring that all together, streamline it and sync it all up.
Do you know, it's interesting to see this, and it'll be interesting to hear from the athletes who primarily focus on long distance, but also Ironman as a brand, because PTO are, yes, they are an organisation in a sense. I know they're putting the profit back into the athletes and into the sport, but they are still competitors to Ironman and to Challenge and to any other brands that are out there. So what
you're saying is, initially, does it actually streamline anything?
I don't know, but also it's a bit like to the others, like raise your game, because we're in with World Triathlon and we're growing here. I think it's interesting to see what the kind of ripple effects.
I mean, in my opinion, there's no question about it. The WTCS series is on the streamlined running of it is just so impressive. So I do hope that by them coming together, joining forces with this, yes, you're right, like it just raises the game, and actually maybe just the athletes go, you know what, this is all we want to focus on, and it does end up streamlining the whole pro calendar.
Yeah,
that's my.
I think it's exciting, and yeah, it's a real boost to the sport. So we will hopefully get more info next week, as we said, and we'd love to know your thoughts on it at the moment as well.
Yeah, definitely. Well, moving on, Brownlee Fitness, Alistair and Johnny Brownlee's fitness or coaching platform, have teamed up with Challenge Family. So they will be offering their coaching plans through Challenge Family in coordination with Training Peaks.
Yeah, so basically I think if you're, I've had a bit of reading around this but haven't found the exact ins and outs, but I think if you sign up to do a race and you get access to a certain amount of training programs from them, I don't know if you quite get to like ring up Alistair and have a chat and like get your race advice, but it's still quite cool for everyone involved, I think. So yeah, if you are one of those athletes and you've actually had a chance to access it, let us know what it involves.
Yeah, awesome. And also Lewis Pugh, the ultra endurance swimmer, is setting out on his next incredible swim, and this is swimming the length of the Hudson River and finishing in New York.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine it's rather clean at the start from the look of his photo compared to what he's going to experience by the time he gets to New York. I've sailed that last bit of the river, so out from New York City, out into the Atlantic, and it is just vast. And that was on a quite a big yacht, and it felt just enormous. So I imagine he's going to see a real changing of landscape and maybe of water quality as well, along his route.
That's essentially what it's all for. I mean, he's trying to raise awareness for pollution levels and what he will experience and come across in the water along the way. So he is doing this, it's 315 miles in total, which is absolutely mad. Yeah. And he's planning or expecting to do that over 30 days. So it's a significant swim each day. I mean, imagine there'll be a little bit of a flow with him, but still.
I wonder, I guess towards the end, he's going to be battling against the tide because it becomes tidal. But at least to start with, he should hopefully be tidal, current assisted, like you say.
Well, he's only just set out, so I mean, should be on day 3 by the time this goes out. So yeah, tune in, check out, and give him a cheer. Okay, now for What the Tech, and we have a brand new bike release. This one from Canyon is the new Endure Ace. The Endure Ace is their kind of endurance cycling model. The Endure Ace has actually been in their lineup for almost a decade now and has been designed with obviously long endurance rides in mind, kind of combining speed and comfort. Now they've achieved that through a slightly more relaxed geometry, taking a bit of pressure and weight off the rider's arms and shoulders, plus many other things, and apparently it's even being used and successful on the World Tour stage too. Yeah, well obviously they've based it off and just upgraded the previous one, so they've got it in the CFR and the CF SLX range. Now they say this is very much developed for the modern rider, and this is what they have quoted saying
those riders, these modern riders, apparently are up for anything and down for everything. So if you're a modern rider, let us know what that means.
What are you planning to do with this bike?
But some of the key points are making it really easy to adjust and get that right fit. So you can change the width of the cockpit quite easily. There's also the stack height without having to cut anything. It's also got a really neat little top tube storage, which is flush, and you can, it's a bit like a Mary Poppins bag, so you can pull it out and you get your tyre levers and a little air canister. I have one in my Canyon Speed Max.
And you pretend you're Mary Poppins.
Yeah, I do. And like, I mean, it's not quite, tyre levers aren't quite as exciting as what Mary Poppins might have in her bag. But anyway, I digress, sorry.
Brilliant. Well, these are the things you can get up to on this new bike.
Yeah.
Up for anything, down for anything. 35mm tyre clearance as well, so they've increased that, as well as they've got that sort of leaf spring seat post that they had on the previous model. I think they've updated that slightly. So that's got a 20mm flex in it, and obviously just adds a little bit more compliance and comfort for these longer rides. And of course, it's more aero.
Obvious.
7 watts more. So yeah, very cool bike. Talking of cool bikes, I unfortunately didn't include this a couple of weeks ago, but we have seen it in action now. It's the new Hope Lotus bike, the Team GB track bike. I know it's not a triathlon bike, but we do quite often see these track bikes and the amount of R&D and technology that goes into them actually trickling across into triathlon eventually. So it's, you know, it's worth having a look into. Now, this bike was obviously ridden by the Team GB team, and unfortunately didn't have a great run, particularly on the men's side. Unfortunately, they had a crash on, Charlie Tanfield, I think it was, had a crash on the last lap of the team pursuit. So they're out of action, and because they couldn't restart with that full team lineup again, they were out of it, so they couldn't defend their title. Yeah. But anyway, I digress. So the bike has obviously been updated. We've had a similar bike from them, from Hope Lotus before. They've still got that wide stance of the forks, but what's notable now is this almost like split seat post design, so it's almost like an exhaust that goes through it, and they've also changed the handlebars quite significantly, although probably not so notable to people, to you and I, but it's now also a carbon fibre monocoque handlebar, whereas the previous one was titanium. Otherwise I wouldn't have noticed this difference. But interestingly, there's also been another bike released for the UCI World Championships, and it looks remarkably similar. It's from Look. It's also got an incredibly wide stance fork and this kind of split seat post. I was trying to tell
from the side view, you can't
see it on this one, but yeah, it's so it's the Look P24. I'm assuming Paris 24. Very clever marketing people. So yeah, pretty cool.
I wonder if anyone else has got as excited as you, Mark. I mean, we know you love What the Tech. It is interesting. I'll give you that. Thank you for sharing it.
Thanks. No worries.
On to race news, and it's been a quiet week on the racing front because it's all about to come, but onto that in a moment. First, it was the Xterra World Cup over in the Czech Republic, and the men's race for the long distance or the full distance race was won by Felix Farissier, and the women's version of that was won by Céline Bouillon from France.
Yeah, and the following day they had the short track, and that was won by Arthur Syria, who came second the day before, and then first on the women's side was Céline Bouillon, who actually won the long course, as Heather said. Now coming up, we've got Ombrunman, which is actually happening today, which is an epic iron distance event happening in France. It's got over 5,000 meters of elevation on the bike and quite a hefty prize purse, so 25,000 euros for the win. It's a race that James has actually won before, and yeah, I've heard it's pretty darn tough.
Cool. Well, we look forward to seeing the results. We'll be bringing you those next week, along with results from the Paris test event. We've been talking about this for a long time. It's been building up in a massive race on the World Triathlon calendar. So the women's race for that is going to be Thursday, men's on Friday. And there's one significant athlete we've talked about a few times who is going to be jamming a lot into that weekend. We're coming on to that next race.
Yeah, we then have the PTO Asian Open, which is taking place in Singapore, taking place over the 19th and the 20th. And what's interesting is, as we've mentioned, Christian Blumenfeld is attempting to do the Paris test event on the Friday. He's then going to fly out to Singapore and then take part in the men's race of the PTO Asian Open on the Sunday at 9 AM Central European time.
Yeah, so shall we have a look at, should we do the men's first in that case then, as we're talking about the men racing at the PTO Asian Open?
Yeah, it's quite stacked. I mean, as you'd expect, a stacked start list. So we've got Christian Blumenfeld, Magnus Ditlev, Sam Long, Max Newman, Ben Canute, Jason West, Sam Laidlow. It goes on. You get
There's
the
nowhere
picture.
to stop, really, is there?
As well as, don't forget, Gustav Eden.
Yeah.
Also in there.
I mean, that's going to be exciting to see him race.
Who's your money on?
I feel like it's going to be a battle between Ditlev and Blumenfeld, and both of them had major issues in the last race, so they've got big points to prove. However, how much will Christian be suffering from all that travel, from racing on his road bike, which has been the problem that he had at the US Open of cramping because he's not used to the position. So if Ditlev sorted his stomach issues, could he be opening up too big a gap on that bike for Christian to get? But I mean, also, what's the race going to pan out? Like, who are the strong swimmers that are going to separate this? Can Gustav stay in the mix?
Yeah, well, I was going to move on to that. I mean, I would absolutely, and I think a lot of us would love to see Gustav take the win here, obviously after everything he's had to deal with this year and the heartache of not actually getting a spot for the Paris test event. So, it'd be amazing to see him just come through and take the win there. And I have seen some clips of him on his TT bike out in Font-Romeu, so he's clearly prepping, which is cool.
And how fast are we going to see Jason West run?
Oh, yeah. Wow.
That's going to be exciting to see. Because I think apparently he wanted to run, he ran split 307 Ks and he wanted 306 or something like that. Yeah, so he was like, I need to go quicker next time. So we'll see if he finds that extra gear.
On the women's side, again, obviously stacked. We've got Ashley Gentle, Anna Haug, Lucy Charles Barkley, Fenella, Chelsea Sodaro, Sarah True, Ellie Sott. Again, list goes on. What do we reckon?
I don't know if this is I want or I think, but I would love to see Lucy Charles Barkley on the top, because I feel like we've all, as triathlon fans, been missing seeing her racing, and she races so honestly and so bravely and from the front. And obviously we're expecting her, especially without Taylor Knibb there, she's not going to have Taylor Knibb with her, so she's going to have to go solo, and just whether it's going to be that rundown at the end from Ashley Gentle.
That's my thought. I think you're going to see Lucy off the front, and then you're going to see the likes of Anna Haug, Ashley Gentle chasing down, and it's just going to be, has Lucy got enough road ahead of her on that run to hold them off? Or I mean, does she just hold them off anyway because she's running so well?
Or is she not? Is she just using this as a warm-up race to get her going because she's not race for ages? Who knows? I mean,
well, it's quite an exciting course. They are swimming in Marina Bay in Singapore, which also, excitedly, the amateur athletes who are doing the event out there get to do the same, which is the first time. They've got an 8-lap bike course, so if you're there, spectators, it's going to be absolutely awesome to watch, and a 3-lap 6 kilometre run route. So I'd love to be there. Actually, it sounds like a really cool course.
But also, it's going to be interesting to see how the heat and how some of the athletes are out there already. Some are going in later. It's very, very hot and humid. So see how that plays the different athlete strengths too.
Well, that's all the big races for this weekend. Then we also have the 70.3 Worlds coming up thick and fast over in Finland. So yeah, we'll stay tuned for that. And we've got a proper preview for that coming very shortly. Right, now to take a look through some of your photos that you've sent in to us. Don't forget, you can send in photos of you doing anything triathlon related using our photo uploader. Link on screen right now in the description down below. This month, we're specifically trying to ask for photos of you pre-race. Setting your transition area up, you doing a bit of training, warm-up, pre-race, anything you like, hopefully with a smile on your face. But if you want to send anything else in to us, please do so. First one isn't a pre-race photo, but it's well worth a mention. I actually got a lovely message from Grace Simmons on Instagram, basically asking me whether I would do a little shout out to her partner, Joe Beavis, who took part in the Norseman Triathlon. He came 31st overall, so well done. Got a black t-shirt, and he did actually come up to me after the event to say hi and actually tell me that it was our video that inspired him to enter the event.
You're lucky he was coming to say thank you, not going, you absolute bugger, you made me do this race.
But what is also really cool, and I had no idea, he didn't tell me this at the time, is that he proposed to his partner at the finish line.
Cool.
Clearly, she said yes because she messaged me. So, but yeah, she sent me a bunch of photos of him on the day. Yeah, looking well. He's got a smile on his face throughout. He's doing really well. But he has no idea that she's messaged me. So hopefully it's a nice surprise for you. But well done. Absolutely awesome and lovely to meet you out there.
Yeah, very cool. This next photo is from Stanley, who is a little shy. We don't have a picture of Stanley himself. Instead, it's of his Cannondale System 6 at the Milwaukee race racking. I was very excited to take part in one of the largest races in the US this year. I love the transition area, pre-race, getting there early, chatting with fellow racers, finalising my race strategy. Milwaukee was incredible. I love that energy that
it looks
that
really
they've
cool
got.
as well, doesn't it? With the high rises behind the transition. It does look good.
But don't be so shy next time, Stanley. We'd love to see your face and how you were feeling if you're that excited. But yeah, some lovely pictures. But like Mark said, do send them in if you do have that pre-race nerves or you're registering the day before. Yes, share any photos that you have. It is race season, so make the most of that. You can do that using the uploader on screen.
Say what? All right, so many questions came in under Sean Conway's video this weekend, and quite rightly. I mean, a lot of people are just questioning, how did he do it? I mean,
I still am.
Yeah, me too. But one in particular came from Mark Philpott Inside Sport, and I thought this one was worth a mention. He said, there will be somebody out there now plotting to try and break this record, and that is another of the amazing outcomes from Sean's superhuman achievement. James Lawrence before him inspired Sean, and now we will see another sometime try to climb further up the mountain as humans are inspired by one another, and where we think Sean is the toughest mentally, another will appear and go even further, and that's what makes the sport so damn exciting. The human potential is truly endless. And I thought this was worth a mention because Sean actually mentioned this to me numerous times during the day when we were filming with him. Basically encouraging someone else to take this challenge on and try and better it. And he actually said if anyone does want to, that they absolutely should reach out to him because he'd love to help them. He said it's been such a mammoth, a beast to try and unpick and work out how to do this, the logistics of it, and he feels like he's really nailed it. He's kind of got the formula for
After
it.
105 days, he got it just about worked out.
And he would love to share that with someone, and he actually said he really does think it's made for a woman.
If anyone watching has got an inkling, we can put you in touch.
He did actually ask about you, Heather, whether you were going to...
He didn't say that. Oh my God. I mean, if GTN want to support me for 105 days, just doing triathlon, you get lots of content for it. Might look a bit repetitive.
I did say your love for the bike maybe isn't quite...
6 hours a day. 6 hours a month is about my maximum, I think.
But yeah, awesome. Anyway, next one, also under an Instagram post. Now, this came after a little cut down from one of our shows a couple of weeks ago.
Of Mark's opinion?
My opinion on bar bags. Now, just to be clear, I think bar bags and handlebar bags are fine if you're doing a long endurance ride.
I mean, yeah, people will just send you photos of you riding your bike with all those bags on if you don't put the disclaimer in.
I do have a bit of an issue in just heading out for your usual 2-3 hour ride and you've only got a bar bag. Why? Like, you've got pockets. No one's ever had an issue filling up their pockets with spares and everything. And we've seen them on TT bikes now. Anyway, someone actually replied under it, says they use it for lactate measurement.
Obviously.
And a lot of food. If you have a 3 hour ride with intensity or a 6+ hour ride, it's great to store all your food. Do people really carry their lactate measurement device? Is this a joke? I don't know. I mean, fair play.
I mean, I hope there's people winding you up, but who knows?
I don't know. We're all our amateur triathletes out there using lactate devices and carrying them around in handlebar bags. I mean,
for their long ride when their lactate hopefully is not going up into any lactate threshold
fair
at all.
Fair play if you are. Fair play.
And yeah, if you are, send a picture of you doing it, send it Mark, we'll believe it, because that would make your day, wouldn't it?
It absolutely would, yeah. Well, that is it for the show this week. We have got lots coming up, and one that I'm very much looking forward to, and that is our Norseman video in which we tracked and followed Sebastian Kienle and Jon Breivold. And yeah, we basically followed them throughout the entire day. We saw the moments where they were putting one another in that hurt locker, and when the elastic finally snapped. So really, really excited to share that one with you, so stay tuned.
I'm excited to see what you guys got from there. So yeah, hopefully you guys have enjoyed the show. We love it if you can support us. You can do that if you're not yet subscribing by clicking the globe and giving us a like. But before you go, we've talked lots about Sean Conway. If you haven't yet seen it, it's on screen now.